Mike McCool here with the Royal Examiner, and today I'm at the Warren Heritage Society in the middle of History Camp. A whole group full of young people here. History Camp is this week at the Warren Heritage Society from 9 to 12, open to all ages. They have a few more seats you can drop on in, so if you have an interest, like 2 more days. So Dale Corey here with me. Dale, what's your character here today?
Well, today I'm here as a Revolutionary War soldier from the Continental Army. And today we're talking about the American flag and the progression of it in the early days from, at the start of the Revolutionary War.
Well, you have a lot of flags here, so I'm going to get out of the way and let the class begin, and you can tell us about some of these flags.
Okay.
All right?
Sure.
All right, thanks.
Well, here we go. The first flag that we flew when we were starting the Revolutionary War, because we still all wanted to be British, British men, Englishmen. And we had the Stars and Stripes with up in the field of blue, we had the Union Jack. Because we were all still, like we said, British, and we had loyalty to the crown. But in 1776, on the 4th of July, when we set the Declaration of Independence up, we decided we can no longer have the Union Jack in there, because now we don't want to be Englishmen any longer. So we come up with some different flags, and we come up with this one, Don't Tread on Me. And if you look at the Don't Tread on Me flag, it's a rattlesnake. He's got a rattle with 13 rattles on it. And the thing behind this, which came out from Ben Franklin, was, if you mess with us, we're going to start shaking our rattle. And then you come after us, we're going to strike. And that was the symbol with the rattlesnake. Then we went to this Appeal to Heaven flag. And the really interesting thing about this Appeal to Heaven flag is the pine tree on there. And the reason that we had the pine tree is because King George had said all pine trees in America belonged to him. They used the trees because they were straight and tall for masts on the ship. And if you cut your tree down, even in your yard, you were liable to be hung. So they flew this flag here, and the first Liberty tree was actually a pine tree. Well, as we get going into battle, then they decided we needed to have something that was more, recognition of the 13 colonies. So they come up with this idea to have the Stars and Stripes. We've got the 13 Stars and Stripes on the Betsy Ross flag. And you see the circle of stars up there? That was like the Knights of the Round Table. Everybody is equal, and if you notice, the stars are pointing outwards. Another unique thing about that flag you'll see is it has 5 points on the stars. And that was done because it was easier to sew the 5-pointed stars than it was to do 6 or 7. But they still had several variations of the flag, because what they wanted was the 13 stars and 13 stripes, and then the 13 stars. So then they moved along here to the Hopkinson Flag, and this is the one that was considered probably, as we know now, more the first one done, and it was done by Mr. Hopkins, who actually signed the Declaration of Independence. And it has, of course, the stars in a different pattern, and it's got the seven red stripes and those 6 white stripes. Well, they didn't have any rules, because all the Congress had said was, you got to have the stripes and you got to have the stars. So Mr. Hopkinson came up with his flag, and then this next flag came up, and they said, look at this, we've changed the pattern. The pattern has the white, then the red, instead of the red and the white stripes. And it's got a 76 in the middle of the 13 stars. Now, why does it have that? Well, to honor 1776, when the country was born, the 4th of July. Now, if you notice something about these last 2 flags, one of them has 6 points on the stars, and the other one has 7 points. Well, they turned around and said, we got to get a little more conformity to the flag. So we went to the next flag here, and this one here, you look at it, is actually got 15 stripes and 15 stars. Well, why does it have that? Because in 1796 we added 2 states. And so they come out with the Flag Act, and they said, you will have these alternating stars, you'll have the alternating stripes, and you'll have the stars up there. Well, that kind of became a problem. So you add states and we get more, the flag's going to be too big. So they came back and said, you can only have 13 stripes, but we will still have the number of stars in there. So in 1818, the next flag they had has 20, it's got 20 stars, and it's got 13 stripes. But it's in the form of a star. Well, after that, they start getting a little more conformity, and they have these little different contests to how they're going to have the flag of the United States. They're still going to have the stars, they're going to have the stripes will stay the same, the field of blue. So what they do is they have people put in different things. This plan here, this is the current flag right now. There are 50 stars up there. This was designed by a high school student for a class project. And he submitted that to his teacher, and they gave him a B-. They said, that's okay. Well, they ended up taking it up all the way to the President of the United States, and President Eisenhower looked at that and said that was a good thing. So on the 4th of July in 1959 or 1960, this flag flew for the first time, and the teacher changed the guy's grade from a B- to an A. Pretty interesting little story. So the other things that we have, and kids, you can start folding the flags up if you'd like to. What we have now is we talked about flag etiquette. The flag is always on the flag's right, and the American flag has an eagle up on top of it. And when that eagle's up there, that eagle always faces forward. And so the flag always has to be on the right, and if you have the field of blue, it always is on the right. And that's something we have to take advantage of. If we are seeing a flag come up in a parade, then what do? We stand up within 6 steps when it comes up there, and 6 steps past us, and render honors. It's either putting your hand over your heart or saluting. You stand if possible. Now, if you're wheelchair bound, then you don't have to stand, but you should render honors. And what other times do we render honors? When the Pledge of Allegiance or the National Anthem are played. And so that's what we do for flags like that. Next thing we do is we never let a flag touch the ground. If the flag touches the ground, then we have to retire it and retire it properly. And according to U.S. code, you either burn it or you bury it. Well, the most common way of taking care of a flag is to burn it. So they have some flag ceremonies in which we do that. And that's a quick rundown on the flags that we have in the country today.